Hello, hello. Welcome to your identity coded celestial map for February 2026. So, just a little bit of an intro since this is a new way of delivering your astrology forecast. This is not like a traditional horoscope. This is more about an orientation. So, each month, the planetary movement activates specific identity mythic identity thresholds, right? It places where you've been and where, you've been and who you've been. So that way you could kind of get that map of where you're becoming and who you're becoming, right? You don't need to track dates or memorize transits. If something here resonates, it's already moving in you, in your field. So this isn't really a weather report for astrology. I mean, there will be some more traditional, information, but I want you to work with this a little differently than how you'd work with a regular horoscope. So the map of this month is designed to help you recognize what's activating, excuse me, stabilize your nervous system as it does, and stand in that identity that's coming online without rushing, no forcing, and no outsourcing your authority. I see this a lot with astrology, numerology, tarot. It's like, well, tell me what's going to happen to me. Tell me what I can expect. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I want you to step more into is really using your own authority to really feel into what resonates for me. And how can I take this to a deeper level of meaning? How can I take this into an actual aligned map or a sense of how my soul is unfolding its path this month? Okay. So this is also like general astrology as far as I'm not, speaking specifically to your chart, like I would need to do a specific reading to give you that kind of information. So again, it's, you can take notes if you want. My goal is to create either a beautiful page on a website or on my blog or a PDF that you can also download and keep, referring to for the month without having to watch the whole video, right? Okay, so I am excited. Let us begin. Okay, so February. Let's look at this as a month. Every month is a ritual of becoming, a ritual of experiencing a new level of your soul's code, your soul's path, right? So this February is a coronation. It's definitely a rupture. It's a rebirth that this is not about asking for permission. This is about really allowing yourself to rise into your authority, right? Because when things happen that are of this like kind of tower moment, and then we'll go into what those tower moments are in February. Um, it's very easy to give our power away and say, oh, well, that's happening to me, you know? Um, and that's not really like the deepest, most highest timeline aligned way to work with astrology codes and astrological energy, okay? So this is not really a month of soft landing. It's really a threshold month. Um, so we're going to talk about three or four of the kind of major movements and alignments in February. So that way we can also pull tarot. And for tarot, I did bring this beautiful deck, the Good Tarot by Colette Baron Reed. So this is, I think, one of my favorite decks. It's very gentle. The images are absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to pull a card, maybe more. We'll see what comes up for each of the months. Um, so this is where we're headed. Let's start with February 1st. That's Sunday. There is a full moon in Leo. So really, this corresponds with the code, you are the field. So I'm pretty obsessed with my radiance codes right now. I'm working with them every day. I'm teaching other people how to work with them, and they're getting, manifestations landing, beautiful flow happening in their lives. Yeah, everything has been amazing with the codes. So we're not going to go really deeply into the codes, but you're going to get a flavor of them. So really, this full moon in Leo is really the crown that you are claiming, right? Because this is a spotlight full moon. It's not subtle, it's not apologetic. So the Leo full moon is really about the spotlight. And it does not ask you if you're ready to be seen. It asks where you've been hiding your crown. So this really is a visibility initiation, not visibility as, oh, I have to show up on social media and do my thing. I mean, that's obviously a part of it, but it's really about visibility as presence and not about waiting. It's not about, I'm going to wait till I'm perfect to show up. So really, it's about showing up for yourself first and just remembering with this code that you are always generating the field. You are one with it. It comes from you. You're not stepping into it. It's not even really a becoming. It's a constant presence. So breathe into that and remember it's a claiming. This is a claiming of your space, a claiming of your presence. So you could place one hand on your heart, one on your lower belly. You could close your eyes for a moment. Lift your chin slightly. Make sure your back is nice and straight. And this is about you're signaling authority to your nervous system in this stance. It's this lifted chin. Like even I know in dance and movement, there's something about lifting the crown and the chin that it really lifts your energy. And it's like, I am safe to be in my own authority. Okay, so take a nice deep inhale, feeling this energy, and then exhale. And you could whisper this, you could say it out loud with just full authority, with your calm. This is not about hypey, like jumping up and down energy. This is really about stabilizing in your authority. So say, I no longer dilute my presence to remain palatable. Let that land. Okay, now whisper, I do not wait to be chosen. My presence is the permission. And I want you to imagine a soft golden crown settling on top of your head in this beautiful leadership that radiates without trying to convince. without performance, right? So we're going to seal this in now, and I want you to whisper, I am the field. And like put a little smile on your face, again, stretching your crown up, allowing your spine to be nice and tall and strong so that energy moves through you. So your embodiment for this full moon in Leo is let move slower than usual, let the world adjust to you. And that's a beautiful ritual. We just did it now in preparation for that alignment, but you could always do it again on the day of the full moon. Okay, I think I want to pull a card and maybe we'll talk a little bit about, see if there's any notes here. Okay, I'm going to see what card wants to come up for us for this Leo full moon. And I'll talk a little bit about it. But so Leo is the sign of celebrity, of leadership, of self-expression, and that sort of it does radiate authority, but from a more, I feel like, innocent place, from a child, I'm going to say a child's perspective. Like it's innocent, it's pure. There's a purity about this leadership. And the Leo axis, Leo's ruled by the sun. And the sun in astrology is the soul. I've heard some people say it's the ego. It's not the ego, it's the soul. So your soul desires to be seen, your soul desires to lead in a beautiful, radiant way. Interesting. So we got the Eight of Earth as our card. So the Eight of Earth is all about you're no longer apprentice, you have developed mastery. And Earth in this deck is Pentacles. So really, literally this is making money. So that's what again, think of the sun as something that illuminates an aspect of yourself that shines the light on something. So it's shining the light on your mastery. So the Leo energy is very proud. Be proud of yourself. Look at your accomplishments, celebrate your accomplishments. You know how I love celebration energy. Celebration energy is, it takes a cycle and wraps it up in light. It wraps it up, not in a finality, but in a sense of, really embodying and claiming that you are the master of whatever it is you've been putting time and money and effort into. Okay. So that's part of this Leo work. And where Leo is trying to Aries, and we're going to talk about the importance of Aries. And Aries is also a leadership sign ruled by the planet Mars. So um, there's a big fire activation, obviously, this month, as we have many planets transiting now into fire and air signs, moving out of the water signs. And we've had a lot of action in Pisces. We've had a lot of action in Taurus. We've had Cancer, and there's a big activation in the sign of Cancer. Again, water and earth. Now we've got fire and air, and these are freedom, movement, right? When we think of air, fire is like this transmutation, right? This energy of creativity as well. So this creativity is really like boom, set aflame on February 1st, the very beginning of the month with this Leo new moon. I mean full moon, pardon me. Okay. So, obviously, there are other transits in February. I'm going to just cover the bigger ones that I think make sense for without trying to get too long. Um, so the next one I want to talk about is February 17th, the Aquarius new moon solar eclipse. And on this same day is the Lunar New Year when we shift into the fire horse year in the Chinese zodiac. So, we're definitely already feeling this eclipse 4 weeks before it happens. So you might have even started to feel it at the Capricorn full moon or just after. I would say 3 to 4 days after the Capricorn full moon, new moon did something crystallize for you, something um, like a whisper of something. Now, the also solar eclipses can be felt 4 weeks before, 4 weeks after. And the code that we have being activated by the Aquarius new moon solar eclipse is code 8. The void is sacred. So this is really about sitting in the energy. That doesn't mean there's no movement, but it's like really feeling what is gestating for me for the next 12 months, right? So this is a really big. It could become a wake-up call, right? Because it's an eclipse. It could be a wake-up call. It could be a epiphany. It's, new doors opening, opportunities coming out of nowhere. And everybody's, wherever Leo and Aquarius are in your chart, these areas are going to be particularly highlighted. So that'll be different depending on what your rising sign is, right? So Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, who is at the very last degrees of Taurus, about to go into Gemini. And so there is literally some kind of a shakeup around what you thought was grounded, what you thought was stable and secure. So, really, the void is sacred code is about learning to be to stabilize yourself, to work with your nervous system, to work with your own authority and your own presence around I trust that even if something is leaves my life or something really unexpected comes into my life, that I can stay stable, right? It's the pivot point of the month. And really, it sets off the entire 2026. So this is not like something that happens that's going to evolve incrementally. It's kind of like this is a pattern breaking moment at the root of it, which is great, right? This is what we want. We want these new timelines. And if there is a new timeline that you're ready to move on to, this is the moment where you're going to feel it, where you're going to sense it, and where you can actually go into this state of gestation and acceptance. So maybe something that began forming. I'm going to grab actually my notes because I think I had some dates that I don't have in front of me right now. So I'm going to pause. I'll be right back. Okay, so I grabbed my notes here. So the last time we had an eclipse in this particular sign was 2017 to 2019, which interesting. that was a really a huge like time of change for me, 2017. My mom passed and I moved to Ojai. We had the Thomas fire, and then very shortly after that, we had a big mudslides. For a lot of people, that was really a traumatizing time. And then, in 2019, I know we had Chiron then move into Aries. And the Aries, again, we're going to talk about Aries in a minute because in on the 20th of February, there's a huge activation in Aries in that part of your sky. Um, so this solar eclipse, it is happening at 29 degrees Aquarius. So this is we call this the anaretic degree, which means it's a crisis degree. It is a big awakening. Okay. So I'm curious to see if we get a tower card or something similar to that, but I'm going to pull some tarot here to give us another level of meaning and activation for this. Here we have two cards that came up, really beautiful cards. Okay, first one is the Seven of Fire. The second one is the Ten of Water. Okay, so Seven of Fire is the Seven of Wands. This is about, this could mean being defensive about something or feeling like you have to defend yourself or defend your philosophy or a way of life or I would say this is a good sign to really, this is about letting go of something, but also not compromising. Like if something comes up that's challenging, like you have the power within you to meet that challenge. So just know that this is the card of courage. So it's a beautiful card of courage. The second card we got interesting is the Ten of Water. So, I don't think it's accidental, but I feel like the Ten of Water, this is the Ten of Cups. It's a sign, it's a beautiful energy. So I think what it's saying is you're going to start to feel or sense the true abundance that is you, that is a part of you. That abundance is maybe what you're defending. That sense of courage maybe is to see your abundance in a new way, to claim your abundance in a new way, to say, to to claim the abundance in a way that's very visible to others. So whatever that means, yeah. And especially in Aquarius, Aquarius is really the sign of rebellion and the sign of the people, of the masses. So, and it's also the sign of the individual, like kind of like the quirky individual, our quirkiness and our weirdness, the piece of us that's like not like anybody else, and we all have that piece, right? Some of us maybe don't want to admit it, but it's true. Um, Now my phone's ringing. I'm telling you, these are the Aquarian moments sometimes you don't want. The disruptions, right? This is a very disruptive energy. So maybe you're offered something opens up for you that is super abundant. Don't defend yourself against it either. That might be part of what this is telling us. Um, so what began forming probably years ago mutates, maybe detonates, and do not micromanage the process, right? That's what we mean by this kind of acceptance and releasing. And if something is about, if you know that something is needs to leave, don't interfere. Let it go. If something needs to come, don't interfere. Receive, right? It goes both ways, and maybe both things will be happening at once, which could be a real mind fucker, right? So for this particular February 17th, like I said, we have a lot happening here. I would love for you to really take 3 to 5 minutes, sit or lie down, like have the lights off, or maybe have something covering your eyes, total silence. Place one hand on your lower belly, and I would say the other one on your solar plexus, and just close your eyes and breathe. We're just going to practice a little bit right now, getting ready for this. And I want you to silently repeat to yourself, I receive without knowing what is to come. I receive without knowing what is to come. And just lie there in this beautiful gestational void. And the interesting thing is when you release that resistance of trying to micromanage or like, oh, I need to know what this is about, what these changes, what's happening within me, these epiphanies, the more you just release and relax and your nervous system stands down, you're going to start downloading your next timeline. And then it's just going to flow so much better for you, right? So we're not talking about avoiding things. We're talking about when the mind chatter, when the mind is reaching for answers, we return to the body first. So it's all about trust, not avoidance, trust. So your embodiment for, I would say, the 17th through the 18th and the 19th, and maybe even into the 20th, where we have a major, major, major activation happening. You do not rush to fill the empty space. This code is all about what happens after the identity falls away. And that's what an eclipse is beautiful at. It's going to highlight something that just isn't you anymore. You've evolved, you've ascended, you've changed, you've transformed. But when we have that emptiness of form, a lot of times we want to rush to fill it with something. And that's what I'm going to advise and guide you to say, don't try to fill that void, because then you're forcing something rather than allowing something. And really, that's how miracles happen when you just get out of the damn way. You're out of your own way, right? Okay. So let old roles, maybe it's the form of old patterns, old clients, let them exit, no explanation needed, and let any sort of out of the box, weirdo sort of things hover without commitment. You don't have to claim a new identity or a new aspect of self right away. I mean, you might even be offered something out of the blue. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, You just don't want to cling to anything. You want to stay in a state of non-attachment, okay? Even if it's an amazing thing. Receive it, yes, like breathe it into your body and just ask your body, ask the wisdom of the body, is this for me? And just, you don't even have to wait to listen for an answer. You just put the question in there, allow, receive, accept where you're at in the moment, and just see what arises. Okay? Because something's naturally going to arise out of this. There's no more notes I have on this, I don't think. Okay, we're going to move on to February 20th. So this is just 3 days after this eclipse. We have the Saturn conjunct Neptune at 0 degrees Aries. This is the 0 point. This is like, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it represents bursting out, like a birth that just explodes, right? So this is very explosive breakthrough energy. So, whoa, it's going to be intense. And the code that is going to be installing for this is code number 9, which is you are the source. So this ritual that we will be doing on this day is the decision seal. It's not poetic, it's cosmic engineering. So Saturn, which represents form and structure, meets Neptune, which is dreams, illusions, fantasy, very high vibrational spiritual matter, like the intangible. And Saturn is the opposite. It's like that is the most tangible. It's manifest form at the very birth point of the zodiac itself, 0 degrees Aries. So, really, this is where fantasy ends and really embodied sovereignty begins. So, it marks that moment intuition really becomes command. Okay. So, I like to call this conjunction dreams made real, and it's where the mystical becomes the tangible. And there are no illusions here. And if there are, they will be removed in very forceful, kind of tower moment awakening ways, right? Let me see here. Before we go and do the ritual that you can do on February 20th, we're going to see what tarot card comes up. And this is a very rare transit. I believe Saturn and Neptune maybe meet every 30 years, could be more. Um, but at this particular point, at this particular Aries 0 degrees, I think it's been over 5,000 years. So it's a very rare transit. Um, we've never felt it before in our lifetime, like this, especially. So yes, Saturn meeting Neptune. I would have to let me pause for a minute. I just want to make sure I have that timing right for you. Okay, so the last time Saturn and Neptune met in Aries in conjunction was March 28th, 1703. Okay, so that was, you know, 300 some odd years ago. Um, and interesting, it looks like before that it was 1380. So really, this is again a super rare cycle. And the last time Saturn and Neptune met together was in Capricorn in 1989. So in Aries, this is a very rare transit. In, Saturn, Neptune happened, whatever, 20, like 30 years ago. Okay. Um, I think we're going to leave it at that. I wonder if there's anything else. Yeah, I was kind of curious to see what was happening actually the last time they met in Aries. So 1703, there was the Great Storm of 1703. It says in late November, early December, a massive hurricane force cyclone devastated southern England and the English Channel. That's interesting because I think we just had a cyclone, quite a big one this past week. So, yeah, um, it looks like there were some conflicts more, at least according to this in Europe. Some stuff looks like in Jamaica, stuff going on in Russia. Yeah, so I'm sure looks like in Japan as well. There was stuff going on. So you could, always, if you're curious, you could always look up on Google, look up a particular era by the year. So I don't think I need to go into just how rare that transit is. We'll keep moving forward now. Okay, we're going back to our tarot reading. I'll probably try to make these a little more streamlined next time, but I also don't like to rush through these because especially for this month of February, that it's super important not to rush through and to really feel into everything. Okay, so the Saturn Neptune conjunction, we have the Queen of Air. Ooh, so the Queen, and I love that she has this beautiful white owl. Um, the Queen, so we're talking about the codes being activated by this astrological transit have to do with embodied sovereignty and really stating our commands into the field as authority of ourselves, as the sovereign who is ready to command themselves, command their field, to create something very decisively. So the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Air, it's swords in the traditional tarot, is very much marking a line here in the sand, like I am making a decision. This is a very important decision point for all of us. And it's also about what's fair for me, what's fair for everyone else. She's definitely one who is makes fair judgments, but she definitely pronounces commands and judgments and with her, voice. Using the voice is going to be really important. Okay, so we're going to do this ritual again, practicing it, and you could always come back to it on the 20th of February. So you can stand with your feet grounded and place both hands on your solar plexus, which is your power chakra. It is the center of your body, too, that when you're not in alignment with something, you're going to feel like a twisting and you're going to feel it in knots, right? So inhale into your solar plexus through your hands. And the command on the exhale is I decide. Inhale and exhale. I decide. Let the field respond to that. And you can complete the sentence. I decide who I'm available for. I decide how my leadership moves. I decide to step into my sovereignty. I decide what really responds. I decide what reality responds to the now energy. I decide my reality. I decide my frequency. All of those work. So it's not about justifying anything, it's making the command. And then we seal it with one of my favorite commands is this: reality reorganizes, timeline locked. So what's beautiful about these kinds of commands, and especially with this Aries energy, it can sometimes test us. So all of a sudden we've made this declaration. We've made this line in the sand, and guess what? Somebody comes along and tries to cross that boundary, push you off of center, say something to you that's like, okay, this is more about them than about me. I'm being projected on. And it might bring up doubt. So when doubt arises during this time period, I want you to say that timeline no longer exists. Call in the sovereign declaration of you've already decided. You don't negotiate with your authority. You don't negotiate with that decision, especially if it's a priority for you, especially if this is like, wow, this is a boundary that I need for no one to cross so I can really embody who I'm becoming right now, the new identity, the new timeline. So someone crosses that, no debate. Decision is governance. You say that timeline no longer exists. Okay. All right. So let's talk about Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So Mercury stations direct, I think at 8 degrees. Nope, 22 degrees Pisces. I'm glad I have my notes here. So 22 degrees Pisces. So it's a little bit late in the sign. So I'm going to say it's close enough to that 0 degrees Aries that um and the Pisces house is right before the Aries house, right? Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. Aries is the first, right? So on the 20th, 5 days before Mercury stations retrograde, we have that rebirth, that like that very like, that 0 degrees is like, again, that line in the sand, like we are not going backwards. We are only moving forwards. That's what the Aries 0 degrees wants us to do. It's also the Fool energy, which is the Fool in the tarot is a leap of faith. It's like not looking backwards, it's having faith and stepping off the cliff into the new reality, right? So what can happen in a Mercury retrograde in Pisces? So, um, there's going to be a big potential for misunderstandings, for tech glitches, details to be hazy, travel can be iffy, travel can, a lot of times travel plans will need to shift. You need to pivot. Um, There's going to be, Pisces, if Aries is the sign of birth of a new beginning, Pisces is about the ending. So you could be revisiting past emotional issues, past karma, past unconscious patterning. Like you're like, okay, I told the universe I'm going to do this, and this is it, and I've decided, and this is it. And yet, all this junk from the past is going to be mirrored to you through whatever situations and people in your life. So that's what I mean. We need to hold the ground while at the same time, Pisces is a mutable sign. It's like Virgo, Gemini, and Sagittarius. So if you have big placements in any of these signs, Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius, you are definitely going to be feeling this shift pretty intensely. That doesn't mean no one else will feel it. We'll all feel it. And, I'm just going to remind you that we have, if you look at your birth chart in astrology, you have every house on there, which means each one of these signs is a piece of your life experience. It's your life mandala. So people are like so identified with their whatever, their sun, moon, and rising. Guess what? You are everything. You are all. That's part of that collective unconsciousness that we look at like in Jungian psychology, right? We are everything. We have been everything. It's just that at certain times of throughout the wheel of the year, wherever the sun is especially shining, and in this case, where we have Mercury, the god of communication, travel, and commerce, the markets could go wacky too during this retrograde time. Um, Stuff in your business, this is not a time really where you want to launch new things. Now, here again, don't outsource your authority to me or any astrologer, but I will tell you there are certain circumstances where I would advise that you don't. If you have questions, you could leave them in the comments below. This video is going to be on YouTube, so I will get any notifications if you leave a comment. If you have any questions and need a little bit of advisement, put your question there and I will answer it for you, okay? Um, yes, we are all individuals. We're all, on different timelines and have very different charts. It's like our soul blueprint, right? That's your astrology chart. So this is kind of, again, a generalized thing. So I'm going to leave it at that, and we're going to pull a card or see if there's more that comes up for this Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So you want to remember that Mercury retrogrades also have shadow periods. So the shadow period for this retrograde actually begins February 12th. So you might and will probably, I usually feel the shadow periods sometimes more than the actual retrograde. Like shit happens on the shadow periods. So so let's see. So the actual end of this Pisces, Mercury and Pisces retrograde is going to be March 20th. So you want to give it 2 weeks after that to be out of shadow because there's a pre-shadow and a post-shadow if you didn't know. So anyways, after March 20th, you might notice again some little weird glitchy things happening that we just talked about. And let's see what Mercury wants us to know. Ooh, got some interesting about some water cards. So message it says messenger of water. So Mercury in Pisces, the messenger in water. This is the also called the Knight of Cups. So there is, I feel like it's true with Pisces because it's related obviously to Neptune. There is a certain glamour and romance that happens at this time. That's what the energy might feel like. You might get invitations that are romantic in nature or creative in nature. Um, Again, choose wisely from your own authority. Um, and also, a retrograde in Mercury or in any planet asks us to have, especially in a water sign, more fluidity, more flow. It might be a go with the flow moment. I feel like there's another card that wants to come out, so let's pick the other card. The Ace of Air, interesting. So again, this is the beginning of air. So air definitely ruled by Mercury, right? This could be, again, a new idea or a communication from out of the blue. Could be someone from your past. It could be someone, maybe you wanted a conversation with a person, um, and you just put it out there, and then sometime in this February 25th through the March 20th window, they reach out to you, and it's like it feels like it's the beginning of something new. So interesting. Just remember that sometimes things that happen or come in during a retrograde or even during an eclipse, particularly, it's fated, it's destined, but it may not last. It might be just a for now thing. So, again, that's where we practice these special identity shifting rituals that give your body that stability and presence to really feel what's going on. And also to just accept and not go into, I need to control things, I need to micromanage, which, that's not a healthy stance for us to be in. So the code for this alignment of Mercury retrograde in Pisces is code 5, which is collapse the timeline, not your nervous system. So the ritual is the integration exhale. So after all this fire and electricity, Mercury is pulling you into Pisces, which is that watery realm. It's misty, it's romantic, it's soft, and it can be very confusing. But confusion only lives right up in here, right up in the head. Your body always knows what's going on. Your body is never confused. So this is about integrating with the body and your nervous system. And let's think about what's happening February 1st all the way through that February 20th. A lot of all of that energy that we talked about is a huge timeline shift. Could be a leap, could be installing a whole new identity, right? The body needs to become stabilized to catch up with that energy. Because what happens is, if your body and your nervous system are not stabilized, guess what? You're going to self-sabotage in some way. You're going to, you know, not recognize the miracle. You might be your nervous system might be so like knocked out of like alignment. You could be in a high alert mode where you're not really seeing the fullness of a situation or the truth of a situation. But again, the body always knows. So when your nervous system is regulated, relaxed, the rest of you, the rest of the body can be your antenna, right? Because that intuition, it's felt in the body. It may seem like, oh, it's a thought thing, and that's where you need to like really, again, don't get caught up in mind fuckery, mind confusion. When you're feeling that in your mind, come and land in your body. Okay, so this is our ritual of our integration exhale. Again, sit comfortably. We're going to inhale through the nose for 4. It's a little bit slower. And then I want you to exhale through your mouth, blowing out through your mouth for 8 counts. So it's slow. And at the bottom of that exhale, just pause in that silence. And you might want to whisper, the field is reorganizing around me. So you want to repeat that breath 3 times, really, and that's all you need to do. If you want to, you can say, the field is rearranging around me. Everything is settling. Stuff like that, and say it in a calm voice, not in the hypey voice. You could even whisper, but you want to really come from, when you speak those truths, come from your solar plexus. Okay, so those 3 breaths, inhale for 4 and exhale out through, blowing through the mouth for 8. So when we have that longer exhale, that signals to the vagal nerve, we are safe. That's what it signals. I'm just going to keep it at that. So the embodiment for this Mercury retrograde in Pisces is clarity comes from stillness, comes from the quiet. So if you're feeling foggy, if you're feeling unclear, do not force it by trying to use your mind power. Slow the body down first and know that the perception of truth, of seeing through the fog, returns when your nervous system feels safe, when your body is stabilized, okay? Okay, so we're just going to summarize quickly February. So February is a coronation, right? The Leo full moon. It's a rupture, the eclipse, and a rebirth with the Saturn Neptune conjunction. The beautiful Mercury and Pisces retrograde, let that be a time of integration. Let that be a time of slowing down, listening deeply. Because during retrogrades, things do slow down. And again, I have Annie Botticelli is a wonderful astrologer, someone I've been following for years. And one of the things she says is there are times when the tide is going out and you put your boats, your message in a bottle, and the tide takes them out to be put into that manifestation vortex. There are times, as in a Mercury retrograde, where the tides are coming in. So trying to put your boats, your messages in a bottle, it's just going to get washed back in your face, right? It's not a time to put stuff there. It's a time for letting those waves, especially the Pisces waves and the mists, wash over you as you are in stillness and calmness. This month is not about trying harder. It's really about standing where you already belong, standing in your truth. And once you stand there with that body and nervous system stabilized, the field responds. Okay. Loving you always. And yeah, know that you are building something really timeless in this period. So it is an important time period. It is generative. It is revolutionary. And I'm sending you lots of love as you move through February. I'm here for you. If you want to go deeper and really practice the codes and the specific nervous system regulation, somatic identity work that goes with them, join me and 23 amazing, beautiful humans in Radiant and Arrived. You could do it at your own pace. It's a beautiful, beautiful course, 10 weeks. You get a code, a nervous system practice, meditations, mini rituals. You're going to love it. Join us. And if it's not the time for you to do that, take what I've given you here, maybe come back, maybe, put these dates on your calendar, come back to this recording and just walk through these little mini rituals. Okay? I'm sending you so much love and gratitude. Thank you for being here. And here's to a very groundbreaking February. Bye for now.